Well, here we are, Overland Expo West, Flagstaff, Arizona. This is my 4th visit. We drove a full 2 days on the road south of Oregon to reach here. The gates to the public open in about 2 hours' time. I walked around last night, very briefly, to have a look at some of the vendors and what they're doing, what they're selling. And what's interesting is that I believe that every single one of them, except maybe some of the very, very big brands, are new organizations, new companies that have seen what has happened in countries like Australia and South Africa and see this very same thing happening in the United States. And what a better time to get into business when you can see the future. There's some very exciting products out there. And there are also some products that I look at and I think, I think that there might be some growing pains going on right now. For example, Metaltech is a company that manufactures kit, gear, and things like this bumper for overland and off-road vehicles. So how do you test a bull bar? You smash it into something and hope it doesn't bend. So that's very difficult to test and review. I, for example, have no idea how secure these recovery points are. They look good, but how are they mounted underneath? I don't know. Am I going to do a major recovery to test them? That could injure somebody. So no, there's no easy way of testing. But there are some clues. This nudge bar thing, or whatever you want to call it, is put on by decorative stainless steel bolts. Now, this is designed to protect the radiator from impact. You don't use stainless steel bolts for that application. They're far too brittle and they're not nearly strong enough. So that's saying to me, the person designing this might be doing a good job, but is obviously... You need high tensile steel bolts for that application. It's as simple as that. And I'm no metallurgist and no engineer, but I understand what works off-road. That's a sign that perhaps the people designing this are doing quite a lot of guessing. Let's have a look at the back, the wheel carrier. The way this pulls down is quite good. The designer have got it to pull down and back. So, while it's quite tough well, you need quite a bit of strength to lock it and unlock it, it's certainly well thought out. The way the bracket is thought out, the material is used, that's quite nice. I quite like that. But now I have a look at some of the other bits and pieces and I see again, somebody designing this doesn't really understand the application. That's heavy, very heavy indeed. If these things can move, they will move. And if the vehicle is moving violently, which it will do off-road, these will move violently inside the container and this will rip apart. It's happened to me. It's happened to me even with a South African product supposedly designed by people that know. It tore itself apart, and it was very similar to this, only stronger, and there was far less movement in the jerry can because I had made sure that there was no movement, but it still ripped itself apart. And enormous heavy padlocks. What are they going to do off-road when this vehicle is jumping about? We had some quite severe dust on the trail, about 2 days of it, and that's all it took to jam the locking pin. It locks there and is designed to keep the carrier open at that point there, and of course when closed it's a safety device in case the latch fails. That no longer works, so I'm relying on the strut to keep it open. But I accidentally let it go from about here and it swung out and snapped the pin because there was no protection against overrunning the center point. What is very obvious is that while it's easy for me to criticize these products, there's nothing new about this process. It's a learning process. Metaltech's rear bumper have these steps, and there's a little orange LED light in there for when you're setting up camp. What a nice idea. They've also got power points, a USB and a cigarette lighter. Bad idea, because they're just not going to survive off-road. Now, they did emphasize that these are very much an optional extra. I have to ask a question. Why offer an optional extra that is just completely inappropriate for overlanding? The answer to that is, well, not everybody is using their vehicles fitted with this kit for overlanding, and as a street car, that's absolutely fine. But let's have a look here. This happened the other day. I'm going to open one of these things and see what happens. Okay. Oh, it's fine. These two are fine. They were both full of water 5 days ago. I opened them up and water poured out. But we had been doing overlanding, and we had hit some mud and had been raining. And when I say a lot of guessing is going on, yes, it's educated guessing. And South Africa went through the same, Australia went through the same, and even now there are some bad products on the market. But not that many. People have learnt. And the manufacturers that have been there the longest have learnt the best, because their products have become really good. People love them. They keep buying them. So they keep making them, and every time they make them a little better. So how do you know you want to equip your vehicle? This particular vehicle, the Lexus 470, is about to become quite popular in this country, I think, as an overlander. Metaltech is one of the few companies doing work on it. But now, I'm not sure if I trust them. One thing, when I explained to the owners my feelings, they were extremely receptive. They listened, I could tell, they listened to everything I was saying. They're really trying to learn. And I can guarantee you a lot of these things, I think, from this experience that they have learnt, they will improve. That's very encouraging, because it's companies like that that will, in the long term, do very, very well. And as long as their customer service is in good shape, and then when a customer can come back and say, this is broken, or this doesn't work, and this isn't very good, and then they respond and they say, well, we have thought about that, we're updating our designs and we're making this all better, then you have to support them, because that's part of the growing process. Because there are many doing this kind of work in this country, and they're doing it very well indeed. Good morning. This is our last morning camping, our last morning at Expo West, and we head off tomorrow, driving back up to Seattle, and then I head off home to Australia. And what we thought we'd do, as we pack up the vehicles, go through the kit that we've been carrying all this time and give you a report back on what has worked and what hasn't. And Jeremy is carrying more kit than I am. So stop looking so smug. The coffee machine. Very vital for the trip?
I think it was a fantastic idea to bring a coffee machine.
I can't deny it, but it uses a lot of electric current.
It does.
It does. So we must go look at your electrical system.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's look.
Let's look.
Tom and Eventuretti set us up with a power management system in the truck. So this unit it does a couple of things. One, it has a 1,000-watt inverter, true sine wave inverter. It also accepts multiple power inputs and charges all the batteries. There's 2 batteries under this unit, and we can plug solar directly into it, and we can also plug shore power into it, 110 AC power into it, and it acts as a charger for all the batteries. So we've been running our coffee maker from this, as well as charging our drone batteries for flights, as well as charging our camera batteries, and using our Wi-Fi hotspot.
And it's worked well?
It's worked very well. The coffee maker is obviously a luxury, and we were somewhat kidding about bringing it, and we did, because we love nice coffee in the morning. It takes a massive amount of power to heat hot water, and we wanted to try and see what this was capable of.
Right, that brings us on to where do you keep your coffee in your vehicle? In your food? How do you get to it?
Maybe
is where I'm trying to go with this.
I understand. I wonder, it might be in my drawer system.
Drawer system. Maybe we should talk about drawer system.
I should show you that.
I think so. I should point out though, before, sorry to interrupt you, that this is not a proprietary 4x4 product at all.
No.
This is made for techies.
Yeah, it's made for tradies or contractors.
Tradies, not tech. I'm going to do that again.
No, it's not.
This is for tradies.
You mean contractors?
I mean tradies. And I think, I don't know, you tell me if they've worked, but they look a bit crude, but I think they are. Have they been a success?
I think they're fantastic. I like the idea that they're extremely strong. We've been using them as a table and as a work surface to just lay things across. They use the full length of the bed, which I like. The things we don't get to as often we put in the back of the drawers, obviously, for obvious reasons, and everything else they've become a catch-all, as you can see, because it's a total mess in here. But they're so easy to get to, and they're always accessible, and everything we've needed, we found, has kind of ended up here, and we kind of use it as a grab bag. So I think from an accessibility standpoint, they've been really, really nice.
What I like about them is the fact you fitted them yourself.
I did.
You ordered them and you fitted them. Was it easy to fit?
Very easy to fit. Hour and a half done, installed by myself.
A lot cheaper than a four-wheel drive drawer set?
I think it is somewhat less expensive. There are some things possibly that you give up, but it's in the $1,000 to $1,200 range.
But now you have another trick up your sleeve, which I think is even more impressive, and it goes perfectly with this.
I know what you're talking about.
Announcing the
Bedslide.
Bedslide. It's not a bed. Let me do it.
Okay, you do it.
I think everything's going to fall everywhere because you don't have the side rails, which are an option, which would really help. But the entire load bed of the inside is coming out. Look at it. It's wonderful. Isn't that wonderful? I am so impressed with that idea. You've got a rail here that you can put up a side piece to stop people from things falling. That would be an improvement. You've got tie-down eyes on both sides, and well, we haven't dressed it up. This is a real campsite. We are actually camping. We haven't made it look like it would do in the showroom, but your impressions?
Yeah, there's a few accessories I'd like to try. Jake sent this out to us from Bedslide to give a shot at what it would be like for a camping overlanding tool, and I think we've really put it through its paces, and it's held together. It hasn't moved around inside the truck. It fits extremely snugly, and I don't know, we've talked about this sitting around the campfire. I don't know that we've come up with anything we don't like about it.
It's just worked.
Yeah, it has.
We fitted it together. It took us 40 minutes to put the whole thing in, probably?
Yeah, probably about that.
The instructions were quite good. The combination, from what I've seen, it's very nice. These Cokes, of course, were from all of the happy fans that brought me Cokes during the show. I received 7, despite asking people to stop being so silly. Secretly, I don't mind. Let's have a look at my packing system. This is an Ironman product. Roll drawers. The latches I like. They're flush, which makes them easier to use than the ones that stick out. Gives you a little bit more space. The drawer is smooth and they're quite tight. They're perfectly good, really, for their application, and they fit well in this particular vehicle. They do have a sharp edge on the side here, and I tore a whole lot of skin off my fingers and I had to be very careful with that, so that finish isn't very good. And unfortunately there's no locking system, so they can't lock open, so if I was on a slope they would just automatically close. We've been using an Alucab fridge slide. The mechanism for release is quite easily. It slides all the way out. We did have the 40-litre fridge on it. It can fit a bigger fridge, and it also has a tilt down mechanism to get into the fridge, which is very nice. It's a good product, and yeah, not much more to say. It works. Electrical system in my car was fitted by Metaltech as a bit of a favour, because I asked for electrics in the back to run the fridge and to charge batteries via an inverter. And they admit they're not Lexus experts, and they put it in and I had to replace it. And it proved to me once again, when wiring up a fridge, you cannot use traditional cigarette lighters for a fridge in a vehicle that's going to be on a rough road. They are completely useless. Also, the cabling from the battery needs to be good, solid cable. You cannot use a thin line. We had so much voltage drop, I could not even turn on the fridge at all unless the engine was actually running because of the voltage drop. We have been using 3 chairs on our trip. We've been using an Ironman this model, an Ironman this model, and an Oztent Gecko chair, which is Jeremy's chair. While I open this, can you tell the viewers how nice that chair is? Because I've sat on that chair and it's very nice.
I like this chair. It's wide, so that works for me. Big guy. I like it because it's very light. I've had it for what, 3 years? You've been stealing it from me for about 3 years. And I think everybody else loves my chair because when I have it, I put the table out and they put their drinks on my table. It's made it very popular. I think it lays flat, which is nice. Very lightweight. 2 seconds to set up. Table. It's been a great chair, and it holds me up, so very happy.
Very good chair. Definitely the best of the 3. This one is the next best of the 3. It's very awkward to open. It's very stiff to open, but it's. I give it out of a. What would you give that out of 10 for comfort?
I think out of comfort, probably, I don't know, I would say probably a 7 for comfort.
Okay, 7. I'd probably give this one a 7 too. I think it's quite comfortable. That's a bit more comfortable. This is actually okay. So maybe a 6. Maybe a 6. Overly heavy. They're made of steel. They're very heavy. Really unnecessarily heavy, in my view. And this one, well, this one is one of the most uncomfortable outdoor chairs I think I've ever sat in.
I think you're probably right.
It is. And they sell it and they brand it Ironman. Are they not proud of? Are you at Ironman? Are you not proud of your products? It's terrible. It's not just bad or ordinary or. It is extremely uncomfortable because you've got this ridge that cuts off blood flow to the bottom of your legs. I can't think of a time where I've... it's got a good point. It's got some good points. It's got these little pockets here that you can lose things in and forget where you've put your phone. I suppose they're useful, but anyway. Those 2 are... And this one, but give Ironman its due. It's okay. Yeah. I could live with these, just a bit heavy. What should we do with that when we leave? Should we put it in a dump? Actually, it doesn't belong to us, did we?
No, it doesn't belong to us. We'll
pity because I'd dump it.
Yeah, I think we should give it to someone that doesn't sit much.
In the next episode, I'll be reporting on Overland Expo West 2017 and also my conclusions as to 4-wheel overlanding in the USA. I'd particularly like to thank the folks at CompuNet. When we announced we were going to do something in the Northwest, this Northwest tech company came to us and said, how can we help? They did. Thank you. CompuNet do business networking solutions. Lovely bunch of guys. Sincere thank you.